Hi guys, welcome back to CareCam, and today we are going to be reading another bedtime story. Henry and Mudge and the Puddle Trouble. The Snow Glory. When the snow melted and spring came, Henry and his big dog Mudge stayed outside all of the time. Henry had missed riding his bike. Mudge has missed chewing on sticks. They were glad it was warmer. One day when Henry and Mudge were in their yard, Henry saw something blue on the ground. He got closer to it. "Mudge," he called, "it's a flower." Mudge slowly walked over and sniffed the blue flower. Then he sneezed all over Henry. Mudge," said Henry. Later, Henry's mother told him that the flower was called a snow glory. "Can I pick it?" Henry asked. "Oh no," said his mother. "Let it grow." So Henry didn't pick it. Every day, he saw the snow glory in the yard, blue and looking so pretty. He knew he shouldn't pick it. He was trying not to pick it, but he thought how nice it would be to look at in a jar. He thought how nice to bring it inside. He thought how nice it would be to own the snow glory. Every day he stood with Mudge and looked at the flower. Mudge would stick his nose into the grass all around the snow glory, but he never looked at it the way Henry did. "Don't you think the snow glory has been growing long enough?" Henry asked his mother. "Let it grow, Henry," she would say. Oh, Henry wanted that snow glory. And one day, he just knew he had to have it. So he took Mudge by the collar, and he stood beside the snow glory. "I am going to pick it," Henry whispered into Mudge's ear. I've let it grow a long time." Henry bent his head and he said in Mudge's ear, "Now I need it." And Mudge wagged his tail, licked Henry's face, then put his big mouth right over the snow glory. And he ate it. "No, Mudge," said Henry. But too late. There was a blue flower in Mudge's belly. "I said need it, not eat it. Shouldn't Henry shouted Henry. He was so mad because Mudge took his flower. It was Henry's flower, and Mudge took it. And Henry almost said, "Bad dog." But he stopped. He looked at Mudge, who looked back at him with soft brown eyes and a flower in his belly. Puddle trouble. In April, it rained all day after day after day. Henry was getting bored. Mudge was chewing up everything in the house. So Henry said, "Let's go outside anyway." He put on his raincoat and his sneakers and went outside with Mudge. He forgot to ask his father if it was all right. When Mudge stepped into the wet grass, he felt his paws and shook them. "Too bad you don't have sneakers," Henry said. And he walked in a circle around Mudge. Squash, squash, squash. Mudge listened and looked at Henry. Mudge listened and looked at Henry. Then he got closer to Henry and wagged his tail and shook the water from his wet furry body all over Henry. Henry wiped the water from his face. "Aw, Mudge," he said. The two of them went walking, and down the road there they found a big puddle, a giant puddle, a lake, an ocean puddle. And Henry said, "Whoa." He started running. Mudge got there first. Splash! Muddy water all over Mudge. Splash! Muddy water got all over Henry. It was the biggest, deepest puddle they have ever seen, and they loved it. When Henry's father called for Henry and didn't find him, he looked down at the ground. Splash! He put on his raincoat and went walking. Splash! He saw Henry's father was Mudge with a muddy face and muddy tail and muddy in between. Henry's father saw Henry with a muddy face and muddy sneakers and muddy in between. And Henry yelled, "Henry, no more splashes. Just a boy and a dog dripping." "Hi, Dad," Henry said, with a little smile. Mudge wagged his tail. "Henry, you know you should have asked me first," Henry's father said. "I know," said Henry. "I am surprised at you," Henry's father said. "I'm sorry," said Henry. I do not know what to do with you," Henry's father said. They looked sad. Then Mudge wagged his tail, licked Henry's hand, and shook the water from his big, wet, furry body all over Henry's father. "Mudge!" Henry yelled. Henry's father stood there with a muddy face, muddy shoes, and muddy in between. He looked at Mudge. He looked at Henry. He looked at the big puddle. Then he smiled. "Wow," he said, and jumped in. He splashed water on Mudge. He splashed water on Henry. He said, "Next time, ask me along." Henry said, "Sure, Dad." And Henry splashed him back. The kittens. In May, the cat who lived next door to Henry and Mudge had a litter of kittens. There were 5 kittens. One was orange, one was gray, one was black and white, and 2 were all black. The kittens sometimes stayed in a box in the front yard to get some sun while the mother cat rested. One day, Henry and Mudge peeked into the box. They saw tiny little kitten faces and tiny little kitten paws and heard tiny little kitten meows. Mudge sniffed and sniffed and sniffed. He wagged his tail and sneezed. Achoo! And sniffed some more. Then he put his big head into the box. With his big tongue, he licked all the kitten faces, 5 kittens. Henry laughed. "Do you want some kittens for your own?" he asked Mudge. Mudge grinned and wagged his tail. Whenever the kittens were in their front yard, Henry and Mudge visit the box. Henry loved their small noses, and he had even given them names. He called them Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. He loved planets too. While Henry was at school, one day a new dog came up to Henry's street. The 5 kittens were sleeping in the box in their yard. Mudge was sleeping in Henry's house. When the new dog got closer to Henry's house, Mudge's ears went up. When the new dog got even closer, Henry's house, Mudge's nose went in the air. And just when the new dog was in front of Henry's house, Mudge barked. He barked and barked and barked until Henry's mother opened the door. And just as Mudge ran out the door, the new dog was in the neighborhood yard, looking at the kitten box. And just as the new dog was putting his big teeth into the box, Mudge ran up behind him. Snap went Mudge's teeth. When the new dog saw him, snap went Mudge's teeth again. When the new dog looked back at the box of kittens, Mudge growled. He looked into the eyes of the new dog. He stood ready to jump, and the new dog backed away from the box. He didn't want the kittens anymore. He just wanted to leave, and he did. Mudge looked in the kitten box. He saw 5 tiny faces and 5 skinny tails and 20 little paws. He reached in the litter. He reached in and licked all 5 kittens. Then he lay down beside the box of kittens, waiting for Henry. Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn went back to sleep. The end. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Like, subscribe, and hit those notification bells. Bye.